Hey guys, welcome to Pretty Killer Podcast. I am your host, Jordana. And tonight with me, I have my very first special guest of 2025. I have Nick Cotrufo, the director and writer of the McKinney Family Home videos.
Holy cow, we're here.
We are here, Nick. We've been counting this down. We've been talking about this like every single day. How are you?
I am doing so great. It felt like today was never going to end. It felt like I got stuck at work and it just wasn't going to stop, but we finally made it.
I know. And when you were like, I'm good to go, I was like, done. Like, let's do
Yeah,
this.
good. Because I panicked. I was like, I know that this is like an hour and a half earlier than we were
No.
shooting for, but I'm just going to throw it out there that I have eaten my Big Mac and I'm ready to go.
I love that. I had a tuna sandwich. I wish my dinner was as cool as a Big Mac, but okay. And just for the record, you guys, I have to say this kind of like fit perfectly because this is going to be like my first guest episode of 2025, but I wanted to do like a found footage theme for February, just because I love me some good found footage. And I am stating that I found the best one. And we are going to dissect it, talk about it. Nick is being super, but like, listen, I need to give you your flowers on this one. I have been waiting for I'm going to preface with this and then we'll do our normal conversation, but I have been waiting for a movie to effectively hit like your movie has and movies.
Right.
And I'm just telling you, like, I'm so thankful for you and I'm so thankful for this movie. So with that being said,
get out of here. We tear up 2 seconds into this.
Right. We'll save that for the end.
Right.
I have so many questions, but my first one that I usually like to ask guests is what got you into like horror in general?
Yeah. We texted about it a little bit, but it was like my family didn't do horror. My mom and dad hate it. My brother doesn't do it.
Damn.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough in the streets. But we were
yes.
I think I was like 13 or 14, and my mom had brought up that the scariest movie she had ever seen, and it was like the reason she wouldn't watch scary movies. She's like, scariest movie I had ever seen was Evil Dead. And I was like, that sounds terrifying. 14.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah,
yes.
Let's throw this. And I went over, I had seen, and I had like watched other horror movies before this, but this was the first time that I had been told by my parents, this is a scary movie.
Yeah.
It really wigged me out. And I watched it and I was like, that was really great. Not really scary, but I would love to watch more of this. And then I watched the entire Evil Dead series and I was like, okay, so none of these are scary. These are just great movies. Yeah, exactly. So I had kind of always just been looking for something that would scare me. I was the kid that when I was 8 years old, the kid across the street from me, his mom rented Blair Witch on VHS.
Yes.
When she went to sleep, we were like, it's like 1 a.m. We're like, let's go, let's watch this. I'm
God.
8 years old. The kid next to me is like sobbing, crying, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, it's not nothing. It's not hitting me. So it was just it was kind of born from this need to rebel against my parents and this I have to find something that's genuinely scary.
I love that. That's such a good origin story because nothing scares you like your parents telling you what the scariest thing that they saw. You know what I mean? Like, because it hits so differently because you're like, okay. And horror's changed significantly since like our parents were, watching horror movies. But like my mom did the same thing with me. I was like, she told me The Exorcist, which to be fair,
great movie and scary.
Yes, terrifying. But the first one that she introduced me to was When a Stranger Calls.
Really? That's an interesting like first one. But
thank you. And I'm like, did you really like truly intend to scare the fucking shit out of me? Because that was like real life scenarios. Like this isn't like the Necronomicon. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, this is fake. This would not happen. But
yeah. But this is like, oh, someone's calling from inside the house. Cool. Noted. Like that's my trauma came from. So
love that.
Yes, I love that. But so what are some of your favorites? Because I know you said like Blair Witch really didn't affect you. I'd love to know like what horror movies like stand out to you and you truly enjoy.
Yeah, my favorite horror movie is, let's do like a top 3.
Yeah,
would probably be Possession, 1981.
Love that.
The director's cut. I don't know what I watched that the first time I watched it was like on my phone at like 1 in the morning. I was like, oh, this is weird. I would love to watch this not on my phone.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. It ended. I started it right back up again now at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then had to go to bed and just sleep to my wife and just be like, oh my God.
Yes.
It's nobody and nothing.
And your wife likes horror.
Yeah, she's big into horror. She watches. She'll watch pretty much anything, like any horror movie. Not, I don't mean that in like a bad way, but like
No.
if it's a horror movie, she's like, I'm watching it. And I've doing this for I've watched a lot of horror movies, so I can like, I've hit that point where like if 5 minutes in, I can get that vibe. I'm like, I'm not doing this, but
yes.
every now and again, it'll come through. But yeah, so 1981 Possession, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining was one that really wigged me the fuck out for a very long time.
Yeah.
Dang, this was tricky. Yes. A movie that really probably Hell House LLC that sent a weird chill down my spine, like in a way that I hadn't seen in forever.
That movie, so that one was like the closest to effectiveness to your movie. Like I'd have to say Hell House was like second to yours, but like Hell House, and I kind of told you the story. My sister-in-law watched it because she's my horror go-to. Because Greg and I have been married. We've been together since 2010. So like I feel really bad for him. Like it's, what do you want to watch, Jordana? And I'm always like, oh, horror, you know,
right.
never changes. But so my sister-in-law loves it, but we literally did not get off the couch. Like I had to go pee and I was so scared, and it's so simple. Like it's just so simple and effective. Like it's crazy.
It's a cool movie that's like in the first 5 minutes, we're going to kind of tell you everything that happened.
Yes.
And then you have to piece together the rest of it as it goes. And just the footage in the beginning, the weird like documentary interviews throughout, just nothing feels like fake during it. It's too real that you're like, oh, this is so unnerving. I love that movie.
So authentic. And I actually am a sucker for the sequels. I do enjoy like 2.
Really?
I like 2. I can kind of get down with 3, and like I was not really. I wasn't. Yeah. The latest
I did not
one.
Like. But you bet your ass I'm going to see the new one.
Yes, I know. I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to do it because, you know, compared to some other movies that have like come out, I do feel like Hell House is strong and like, they're not bad to follow, but like, I don't know. There's something about them that set the tone. And I felt that like almost right after I started your movie, which I mean, we're almost, but because I have so many questions, I have so many things to talk about. And Rosalind had a specific question that she wanted me to ask you. Yeah. So we'll do that at one point. But what got you into like wanting to direct? What got you into like the idea of creating in general? I'd love to hear like what sparked that in your brain.
Yeah, this is a pretty lame story. I was, what was it, 2017. I owned a record shop at the time, and this kid came in who is now one of my best friends, but he came in and he was talking about a movie that he had made. I think it was called, oh my gosh, I think it was called like When They Come, or like They Come Out at Night. It was something like, it was a short film that him and his friends had made. And it was great. It was so funny, but it was like a horror movie that him and his friends made in like high school. And almost all the dialogue is like from a Thin Lizzy song. Oh. And it's literally just about the boys being back in town. Like it's so good, but it was like weirdly gripping.
Yeah. I love that.
So I was just like, wait, you could just do this? And he was like, yeah, we just made this. So him and I shot a movie together that will never see the light of day. We're going to keep it that way.
Is it, which one is it? Because I saw the other 2 that was on your IMDb.
Yes, there is a movie that I made called Blue Eyes. It was a 90-minute like indie rom-com, and it's a disaster. Like
I love it though. That's so cool that you did that. Like I'm not expecting rom-com.
Right, yeah, that's where this all started, was like, let's do indie rom-com. I don't know why. I've like looking back on that, I'm like, come on, man. Like
but it brought you here though. So there must be like a reason to spark that. Love that.
Yeah, I was directing on that one, and I hit like a point with it where I was like, I feel like there's more things that I need to be doing on set essentially, and I wasn't getting that with Blue Eyes. So I got a camera and started just kind of filming on my own. And then I entered with some friends of mine, the 48-Hour Film Festival.
Yep.
And that was the first time I got to film like an actual like short film. which I think is still on YouTube, called In the Garden We Planted Fear, which was a horror retelling of the fall of man in the Garden of Eden.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that
we'll
one's
link
really
that.
good.
We'll link that. Yes.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. And then from there, it just kind of took off. I loved doing it. It was something that I was kind of just doing in my spare time.
Yep.
And anytime I come up with an idea, I'll write it down. I mean, I have all the gear, so I'll just start shooting whenever I have that free time.
How amazing that it's like at your fingertips. Like you could literally just have an idea and be like, and that's what I love about found footage too, is you can literally like create it from just like a thought that you had 2 seconds ago, and you could film something and have it be, and it could be the weirdest thing. It could be pieced in like a scene 3 months from now, and you wouldn't even know that that scene was going to exist.
Exactly.
I love that.
We'll get into that because that's actually very accurate to what happened here with McKinney.
Oh, okay. So this movie, I became a creator for FoundTV, which FoundTV, shout out, love you guys. They are fantastic. And your film was like the buzz of what was on there. And I was just like, okay, let's fucking do this. When I tell you that the first like 10 minutes, there was just something about it because it felt so real and authentic. It felt like I found someone's tapes and I put them in my VCR and I was watching them. And it's just visuals. Like where did it come from? Like, where does it come from?
This was crazy. So that house, which is the house that we're in right now, this is our house. We bought it actually after we filmed it. So that's been fun.
That's an actual labor of love.
Yeah, right. It was, our friends had owned the house. They were moving out, and Molly and I my wife, we were living in this apartment that was way too small, and our rent was going up. And so they were like, "Oh, we're moving out of this house." And I was like, "How crazy would it be if like you just rented it to us?" I kind of said it as a joke, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And it was literally going to be cheaper than our apartment to move in. So we moved in, and I was like, "Oh man, I remember like videos that my parents took of us like moving into new houses, and like my mom holding the camera, taking video of things that nobody really like gives a shit about." But it was like, yeah, all right.
Yes, to document that. Yes.
Yeah, right. This is the front door. These are the windows, and it's like it's a house. Like
everything else.
But all parents had that video. So it was something kind of like when I shot the first 10 minutes, like that was the inspiration. But that was not the first thing that we shot for McKinney. That was probably one of the last things actually that we ended up shooting.
I love that the beginning was like the very, like almost the end. I love that.
Yeah, it's honestly, the very first thing that we shot was a sequence entitled Jessica Homecoming, which is the sequence that opens up in like a backyard, and there's that voice that's like reading from Revelation, and then it cuts to the outside of the house.
Yes, that scene. Oh my God. Like listening to that, because I was trying to like hear what they were like, what it was actually saying, but it's just so like off-putting. It's just so like evil. Like I can't even articulate, you guys, like the feeling and the emotions I felt watching this movie. Like I wanted to get out of my skin because I was like, I felt like I was being absorbed into this. Like, I don't know.
This is crazy.
Is it? I'm being so genuinely sincere. Like I was texting people as I was watching it. I'm like, I'm watching literally the scariest fucking movie that exists. And I sent the picture of Grandma. Picture of Grandma, and people are like, they're like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, I'm intrigued. So, Grandma, that whole sequence, like just everything.
That one was I painted all of those pictures, and that was a. Yeah.
Wow. Do you still have Grandma?
Grandma is technically an amalgamation of like two pictures that I layered over each other in post.
Okay.
But there's so many crazy stories about just this thing like coming together, because feasibly this movie should not have come together the way that it did. It should not exist the way that it does, but it worked out perfectly, and at least in my head, like seeing it in one sequential thought is like, wow, this actually looks like a cool movie.
I will second that. Like I will literally stamp it, because this whole movie, even though it does kind of jump around a little, but there's just this like you understand what's going on. Or the way that I'm taking it too is you could be creating like your own ideas of what's happening, and that's what I truly love about this movie is you could like me watching it to Rosalind's perspective, because my theories, of course, are going to be so much different than an 11-year-old, but the feelings that we both shared of like, ew, like that's so creepy. And just like listening to her, like reading the stuff, and she's like, oh, what? Oh, and then like the visuals, like the one part with the window and that thing popped up, like that scared the shit out of her. She was like, what? She was like freaking out.
Where is it? It's that thing at the top of that painting right there.
Oh my!
It's holding like that looks like a key that it's holding. Yeah, we just took a cut of that and then superimposed it in the window. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's so effective because that's the type of now, and that's why I'm so happy that we got to connect, because I feel like our brains, like the things that you put in there that are now, did you think those things were scary, or did you just think like they were like that they would hit with the scene? You know what I mean? Like that they fit into that piece.
A little bit of both. There were the two paintings that are behind me here. My friend Matt, who plays Lilith in the movie, he painted those two, and he gave them to me for my birthday, like one year after another. And I remember just being like, who the hell is doing it? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. And I loved it. I was like, this is great. I'm going to cherish this forever. So
yes,
I had this kind of like, I'm in, this is my office where I am right now. And so I was editing all the footage and I was like, I need something here. I just don't know what. And so I took pictures of like a bunch of different things that I'd had just around the house and kept trying to see what would work. And once I put that head in there and like it popped up and I put like the audio over it, I was like, oh man, it made me queasy, like looking at it. And I would spend hours looking at this thing just to be like, maybe it needs to look better here. Maybe I fine tune it like this.
And whatever you did to fine tune it is just impeccable. It's just great because it literally because my thing is, have you watched Daddy's Head?
Not yet. I've heard it's good, but I haven't watched it yet.
So for me, like obviously they're two different movies, but both movies, your movie and Daddy's Head, had this effective way of like when you're looking at something and you're like homing in on it, and you're like something is either going to pop up, something's going to appear, or there's a reason why we're focusing so much on it. I went off, like Daddy's Head was number 3 on my list of 2024, like beating Nosferatu, you know what I mean? Like beating all these big name movies because there was something about like the play on the eye. And then when I found your movie, it's very much a play on the eye, but you also will throw in visuals from time to time, or you'll do audio. And I'm telling that audio is straight out of Satan's fucking ass because it is so terrifying.
And that's been like the number one compliment I get is like the sound design of this movie is crazy. And I'm like, it's mostly my dog snoring that just adjusting the pitch and like layering it in different ways, slowing it way down or speeding it way up. Like 90% of like the like terrifying sounds you hear is just my French bulldog.
I was gonna say, you have the cutest dog in their Christmas pajamas.
We do love her very much.
Yes, I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna have her in her little pajamas because I could not imagine
her
this.
Moment.
Yes, she needs to shine, of course. But like a snow, like something as simple as that, translating to something as I truly felt like the gates of hell were opening. Like not even exaggerating. Yes, it's so good. I've been literally the other night I had people over for my birthday. I'm like, you guys want to watch a movie? Like we're all drinking. I'm like, I got this great one to throw on. They're like, yeah, sure. And I'm just like,
just subjecting these people to this.
Yes.
I mean, it's slow commitment. It's 68 minutes. You're in and out.
Yes, it's the best. And I love the time. I love the time in this movie because you nailed it. Like you didn't go any further. It was just the perfect amount to tell the story, which I want to get into.
Yeah.
So let's
keep
the good times rolling. So the story, like the premise of it. So we have a family that's moving into a new home. They're close, and it's over the period of 8 years. It's from 1990 to 1998. So we kind of go like a jumping around, but in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with this idea? Like what sparked the idea of like the family, Dwayne, all of it?
Yeah. So with the jumping around, I definitely got that just from like just general like home videotapes. Like, you'll be watching like an old family video and it'll be like someone mid-sentence and then the tape will just cut and they'll be like at the beach and you're like, that was crazy. Why did that happen? So yes. I loved doing that, and it worked with every segment. Like the tape could cut in like these segments and you'd be like, all right, I'm still in the same like area. This is still happening like at this specific time.
Yes.
And then it'll cut to something completely different. You're like, oh, the year has definitely changed. We're in a completely separate location.
Yes.
So I got that was for the jumping around. But as for the idea itself, I wish that this was like a really cool story, but it's like it was just like we shot that first bit with the backyard and like that whole segment of like the house at night and being in the basement and the wailing downstairs and the eating sounds in the woods. And like, there was nothing, there was no story at that point. It was just like, here's everything that I think is scary. And I'm going to put it in like an 8-minute clip. Yep. And when I'm editing, like I'm watching it like 50, 60 times in a row. And so eventually like this story is starting to like come alive. And I'm like, oh man, we should totally do more things. We should absolutely build off of this. And I submitted like that section to some film festivals, and it got into I think 3, and it won at one, but it was like I think it was already called like Beers and Fears out in DC, and I was like, all right, like perfect,
I'm done. Yeah, good.
Yeah, right.
Accomplished it.
This was not my like, oh, I'm quitting my day job moment, but it was like, okay, so maybe there is something to do here. So we started filming from there, like in this full-blown way, but I wanted to make it like kind of like a challenge, because I outside of McKinney, I do consider myself a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give myself this challenge. So every scene of the movie had a specific challenge that had to be completed in order for it to be considered done.
But that's cool that you're like setting your own goals for yourself, because like you know what you're capable of, and you know, like your mind is just a beautiful thing. Just from watching this, like I just want to know about like more ideas that you have going on in your head. I can't wait to see other films that you have coming out. Like I'd love to see you do something like not of the found footage nature, just to see, because I feel like your ideas would translate no matter what. Like it would just, you know.
I can send you like one of the ones that's on Letterboxd is called Fever Queen, but I think that I've like scourged that off of the earth. But it's not.
I saw that one too.
It's good, but like it's definitely not found footage. That was like during my like, I mean, I loved him. I loved him till the day he died. But it was definitely in my like David Lynch is my everything phase of life.
Yes.
Yeah, it had a bit of a manic episode after the day that he died. Like I was like at work and like texted my boss like, "Hey man, like I'm not doing great." Right now.
Like I have to take the rest of the day off. It was like literally just like watching old clips of him, just listening to him, and just seeing like, because Eraserhead is like one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
I love Eraserhead so much. It's so sad. Like another like horrible way to kick off 2025, but like I love that he was up there for you, and I love that he meant so much to you, because he's phenomenal.
He huge encouragement. I read all of his books. I've seen every single one of his movies, all of his shorts. So that was like what I was primarily making before doing found footage. And the next project I'm working on is found footage, but I don't want to only do found footage.
Right. And I was going to ask that. Yeah. If you wanted to like still dabble in it, or because I mean, I don't know. I think you're fantastic. I can't get over it. Like I am literally like already calling this is going to be like my favorite of 2025. Cause I literally like just think about it all the time.
Which means it's doing its job. Cause I want it to be like a thing that like you should get to the end of that movie and not be like, I understood everything that just happened there. Like it's a thinker. It's a puzzle. There's a lot to take in. But I mean, like the more you watch it, the more it's like, oh, this makes sense. And again, I've seen it 1,000 times. So like in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is duh. Sure. Can't you see it? But like,
of course is what it is. Now, has anyone gotten like close to what exactly like what you were going for? Like all the bullet points, has anyone like nailed it of what was going on in this movie? And I don't want to give too much away, because I want people to watch this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've definitely had some YouTubers and some commentators that have done like their full reviews and been like, this is what's going on. And I'm like, you're 98% of the way there. We're just going to say you got it. Like the little details you're missing are so minute that it doesn't really change anything.
Mm-hmm. But it's cool, because I think that says a lot about your movie too, that people can have all these takeaways. And so, you know, some may not even be anywhere close, but just be like, hey, it was this, or hey, it really fucked me up, because it felt like for me, it felt like a night terror. Like there were scenes in the movie that were so specific to night terrors that I had before, that it.
Ooh, I need to know this. What
Yes.
what scene specifically would you like gave you that same feeling?
So it was the one where it was kind of like a pinkish color, and it was just that door, that the one.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was just how it was like sitting there and waiting because when we moved into our house, we lived up north because we moved to central New York. We moved down like 2019, but the house that we were living in prior, so much fucked up shit happened. And I'm swearing on Rosalind's life with all this stuff. But when I got pregnant, Greg saw in his record room, because he had like a little comic book record room that we had, and then we had to turn it into the nursery for our kid. Is that being selfish? But he kept saying that he would look in and he would just see this woman with like white hair over her face, just like kind of insidious, like sitting in a rocking chair, just kind of like staring into our room. And I was like, okay. But I had like weird feelings in this house. And it wasn't like it was like an old, it was like modern-ish, but still there was weird things, weird feelings in this house. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that like the whole like tunneling to like looking at the door just brought me back to my night terrors that started in that house. And then, and if I can't say this, I will clip it. But so in volume 2,
yes,
there was a scene with footsteps, like it sounded like they were getting closer, but they were just kind of like lingering. Okay, right.
Yes.
So when I was fully like 8 months pregnant and we had a platform bed, Greg was going to work, and every morning, like we had hardwood-ish floors, so you could hear him walking every morning. This one, I knew I was in a night terror, and he like kissed me goodbye, and I heard his boots going dun, 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 dun. And then it was like he was walking halfway in the living room, but then I heard like it stop, and then I heard dun, 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 coming back up, and I was like, oh my God, that's not Greg, that's not Greg. And I was like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And in my night terror, whatever it was, like started pulling me off the bed. And I was like, if I hit the ground, I'm going to lose the baby. Like, I'm just like internally just freaking out.
This is a nightmare. This is a very real nightmare.
Is a night terror. Yeah. And when I got out of it, because I was like, wake up, wake up. I was crying. I was screaming. I called Greg. He literally just got to work. He's like, do you want me to come home? I'm like, no, but like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this house. Like, what is this? So it was just continual of that. And then fast forward, after I had Rosalind, I was sitting in my living room. I was talking to my mom on the phone, and it was just like Insidious. It was like this interference. It was like, and then there was this like growl, and the phone cut off. And I sat there and I was like, if she calls me back and says, what is that? Then I know I'm not crazy.
Right.
If she doesn't, or like whatever, she called me back. She's like, Jordana, what was that noise? And I'm like, please come over. I was like crying. I was like, but the movie just like had moments that were so similar to my night terrors. So in my Letterboxd review, I said it's like a night terror in a fever dream when you're on acid, like that you just could not get out of. And that's exactly
that sounds paralyzing. That just sounds terrible.
It was paralyzing in the most amazing way, though, because after I got past like the couple scenes that felt like, oh, like I've experienced something like this before, just like watching the rest of it that you created, like the missing flyers, as something as simple as your missing flyers and the progression of the contrast, and then the one where it's red. Oh my God. That woke Greg. The first night I watched it, because I was extremely high. I'm like, I have to watch. Let's do this. I got into bed, and that scene, because you know how the music was like, and like super high pitched. He was like, what the? And he saw the eye with the little thing turned, and he was just like, we need to watch this. I'm like, I know. Like, we'll watch this again. Like he was all for it. Like, and he does this thing where he does sleep, but then he'll like kind of wake up and look at things, and I'm like, don't worry, we'll watch it. So we've watched it like 3 times already. So
I'm so glad.
He's watched it 3 times. I've watched it like 6. Rosalind's watched it twice.
What does she think? She's the youngest person I know that has watched it.
I explained to her what I thought was going on. She thinks it's like the devil. She thinks that there's like an evil presence. She would not want to live there. would not. She said the basement looks like my grandma's old basement. She's like, that looks like Nanny's basement. I'm like, I know, and I can smell it right now. Like just that old basement smell. And I never wanted to be down there because I was terrified of it. And she her connecting that, I was like, you're on the same page, girl. The visuals when she just thinks it's so creative, and she feels like it's like it could be a night terror too. So she loves it. She thinks it's great.
Scaring kids. Let's go. All right.
Yes. And Roz is like super mature for her age. Like she like I've talked to her about Poltergeist. Like we did like a couple series, you know.
Yeah, I listened to all those episodes. It was like, wow, this is like a really smart 9-year-old. This is crazy.
Yeah, she's pretty hip to it, but like she loved it. And then I have the pleasure of watching Volume 2, and she wants to watch that in full.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, honestly, because we haven't discussed it, because I wanted to wait till we were like face to face talking about it.
I know you've been killing me.
I know, because I wanted the anticipation of it. I don't want to say too much though. The opening scene gave me chills because it's just so in your face from the last one of like, oh, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm being super, because you guys, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm telling you, when Volume 2 comes out, you need to do like first Volume 1, Volume 2, watch it all together. I think it fits perfectly. I think the shorter runtime is perfect because you're already kind of like reeling off of the first one. So I think that exactly what you gave in this movie is chef's kiss. Like you did a part 2 perfectly, in my opinion. This is all, and also guys, this is all my opinion. You could be like, but I think
there are some haters of this. So.
You know, and I get that because movies, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But like for me, I've seen a lot of movies, and I don't want to say this in any mean way, that felt like they were trying to accomplish what you were trying to do, and it didn't work for me.
Right.
But your story and the way that you edit, your sounds, your visuals, everything just literally is perfection for me. So with that being said, I feel like 2 is just rounding up for the conclusion. Like we're going to get, I don't want to say we're going to get blasted, but I feel like in Volume 3, right? And is there going to be, okay. If there were to be a Volume 3, I think that you could just like pack a punch, but your punch has already been packed. So either way. Yes.
Yeah, definitely in my head, like McKinney is done at Volume 2. Volume 2 is definitely like my like, all right, because I fear what happens when someone's like, I could go one more. Because in my mind, I'm like, I could do it. I could make one more, but I'm like,
do I? Yes.
I struggled a little bit towards the end of the second one. I don't think if I made a third one, it would benefit the story, and I don't think it would be better than the first 2 movies. So I think ending it at 2 and then just being like, here are these 2 things that I have.
Yep.
You can get them. You can buy one on VHS. Maybe you can buy the second one on VHS at some point.
Yep.
But this is what I do, and then I'm going to do something completely different. I wouldn't say completely, but something different after this.
I love that though, because there's a lot of people that get stuck in, when they have a success, getting stuck in, okay, I'm going to pump out another one and another one, another one.
Yeah.
Or just stay in the same lane and never venture out to go past their speed limit, which I'm happy that you already have things going on. You already have ideas, and that you also have ideas outside of the horror realm, because I truly think you're super talented, and I just want to hear more stories from you, whether it be a scary one, whether it be a fun rom-com. I'm on board for anything that you do, but like,
it'll never be a rom-com ever again.
I was going to say extra points for the horror, but I'll take anything else really. But I'm really glad that you said that, because when 2 ended, I was like, that is like the perfect, it is like the perfect story. And the visuals in this one are a little bit more dark, a little bit more morbid, a little bit more
that scared me half to death.
Did you see me? Oh my God, I'm sweating now. And I should have said that. I should have literally told you, like,
I knew that could happen. Yeah. It's just like, it had been like 30 minutes and nothing happened. I was like, maybe we're fine.
That just scared the shit out of me. I am so sorry.
No, you're good. You are totally fine.
Every time too, like it's either that or my kid. One time I recorded with another person, and she's down here wanting more screen time for the PlayStation, and I felt like someone was like lingering right here, and I was just like, oh, she's just standing there like, like Angela from Sleepaway Camp. I'm like, what do you want?
Right.
Terrifying. But okay, so 2. When do
Yes.
you think we could possibly see that hit anywhere? Like do you have like an anticipated slot release, or can you not say?
So I don't have anything in stone yet. I'm definitely aiming for this spring. I'm essentially filling out all the paperwork because right now just the movie is done. I don't have any of like the media, or I don't have like the media packet ready yet. But working on the box art and everything right now too. So I think I should have all of that done this month and then start getting it set up. I can't confirm if it's going to go to FoundTV. That's definitely where I'm trying to get it to go to first, but nothing, like I said, nothing in stone yet.
Yep. That's now that process, and I know little to nothing about it. Is that like a stressful time for you? Like, or is it kind of like how does that process go? Like, do you just kind of like send it off to people, or what do you do?
So with FoundTV, it was super easy. They had made some posts on Reddit that they were looking for, or I'd seen some posts about them on Reddit before they had launched the site, that they were looking for found footage movies. And I was like, well, that's crazy. I have a found footage project right now. Because like initially it was a YouTube series where everything was cut up, and then Retro did the movie version of it, and I had it, and I was like, I have this here, and it's cool that it's on VHS.
Yeah.
I would love to see if it could go a little bit further and like let's put it on on a streaming service that isn't, YouTube. And so FoundTV was just getting started. I sent it in and they hit me up pretty quickly, and they were like, yeah, we would love to have this. And they've been like, I mean, you can vouch, they've been fantastic people to like talk to and work with. So they've been they were like, we're interested in the second volume. That I just have to do all the stuff for it.
Yeah. Which like, I know when I like posted that I was watching it, they like put like something up there, and I was like, like, I truly hope it goes there, but like, I was just so excited that I got to have a sneak peek of it.
Yeah, you are. I mean, other than the people that like live here, obviously, you were the first person to see the movie cut of the second one. So
I feel so honored. I like was screeching, and Greg's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I get to watch volume 2," and he's like, "Can I watch it?" I'm like, "No." No, only
sorry, it's a screener.
I know. I'm like, I get like that. I'm just like, listen, this was given to me, and I'm not giving it up to anyone else. So I'm sorry,
Greg. If you're listening, it's okay. I give verbal consent. You can watch volume 2 before it comes out.
He'll play it too. He'll be like, listen, he said. Well, like for him too, because he's not like a huge found footage guy. He's
right.
He is, like he loves John Carpenter's The Thing, Texas Chainsaw, like OG stuff. Like, and he likes newer horror, but I think he's more like an OG guy. But he was just kind of like, because we vibe on the same things that scare us. You know what I mean? And like the creepy elements and stuff. And he was just like, oh man, this is like getting under my skin. I'm like, I know. It'll sit there and it'll fester in the best way possible, because like I told you, I was like, I'm thinking about like this situation and this scenario, and like, was that Christy? Look, was that one of the kids? And that was the other audio part that will come up, was the crying in the like, yes, like that is so more like, so how can I say this without like, fuck them kids? You know what I mean? Like, I am totally a person that's like, if you're gonna be ballsy enough to like to do that and have it be like cohesive in your story, like I'm for it, because I just think, I don't know, it's entertainment, but it just adds that element of like, oh my god, like, is this truly like, is this what's going down? And it's great.
I wanted it to scare people like that, but not like it's a difficult, like, I guess, like path to walk, where it's like, all right, if you're going to potentially hurt a kid in a movie,
right,
there is a very right way to do it, and there's a very wrong way to do it.
Yes.
So I was like, we're not going to show the kid getting hurt. We're not even going to show the kid ever. So you really have no emotional attachment to this kid. You just know that there is a kid.
Yes.
And we'll hear the kid talk. We'll hear the kid scream, and then we will move on.
Yes.
And it's enough to let you know that kid is dead. But you don't have to be like, I saw a kid get killed in this movie and it ruined the whole movie for me.
Exactly. It's not like a Doctor Strange moment.
Right.
Or Dr. Sleep. Excuse me.
Okay,
Dr.
there you
Sleep.
go. I was like, did I see Doctor Strange? Does he kill a kid? Does Benedict Cumberbatch kill a kid in that movie?
I know. I was gonna say I don't think he would ever do that, but Dr. Sleep, that scene that got me like
it's a little bit much.
Yeah, a lot because they like focused on it for so long, but like it's just yours was so tastefully done. I mean, and like comparing it now to, did you see Terrifier 3?
Oh yeah, opening night.
Yes, like the opening scene, and then of course like, Mom, what's in this box? And he like obliterates all the kids. Like,
that was my only fear walking into that movie is like, man, I don't know if I want to see this guy torture a kid. And the way it's all done, I'm like, no, this is great. This is handled so tastefully and so exactly the way that it should be done.
I'm glad that you said that because I felt the same way. Because I was just like, because they were so we went to Halloween Horror Nights, and then we were down there during like Milton, and we had to like take a later flight back. And my sister-in-law was like, "Oh my God, are you still gonna be able to see Terrifier 3?" I'm like, yeah, like I will literally walk off the plane, get into an Uber, and I will drive to the movie theater. Like I'm not missing this movie.
Right. No circumstance do I miss this movie.
Like, no hurricane, no nothing. Just gonna stand in my way of Art the Clown. And then when we went to go see it with the family, because we hid it from his family that we already saw it beforehand, and they're like, "Oh, do kids get killed?" And we're just like, "Yeah, we already saw it." They're like, "Is it bad?" I'm like, I don't think it was. Like you said, it wasn't anything super crazy.
Right.
I mean,
do they kill the kid? Yeah. Do you watch a kid get tortured? No. Like it's very one and done.
Yes, it's very art, if you will. It
yes.
the bill. But you're like just the added little touches to that, and like even when they're in the school, these like principals off, you know what I mean? Like, and also too, I want to touch on your messages. Like, that was one of my favorite parts of this movie too, is because I haven't really seen like cryptic messages throughout that are so cohesive with the movie and play along with it. So like, did you have those ideas when you were doing it, or did they just kind of pop up when you're editing?
It definitely popped up while we had like Molly and I had like a narrative that we had, like I would do like the writing and Molly was filling in any blanks where I'm like, I need to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And so we had like a general idea, but the dialogue that would pop up on screen would be more of like okay, let's imagine this. You're at home, you're watching this tape. This screen comes up. What does this tape tell you is about to happen? Because the idea is that the tape itself is cursed. You're watching this tape, but the tape is talking to you, the viewer. Mm-hmm. And if you take it into that next layer, like you are not you when you're watching it. You are whoever this tape is, made for.
Yes.
I feel like I'm doing this a lot, but
okay, it's all right. It helps, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Not trying to be any more cryptic than the movie already is, but it's and all of the dialogue is supposed to be like the tape talking to you, or whoever is filming is talking to you. Like there are scenes where Dwayne is talking. There are scenes where Christy is talking. There are scenes where Diana talks. Like there are constant narrative changes, and they're not super like straightforward. They're definitely kind of subtle, and you have to be 100% locked in to be like, oh, this is no longer Dwayne. Christy is the one that's saying it. Although I think like with Christy especially, it's pretty obvious when it switches over, because it kind of goes from like mature talking to being like, oh, I can't talk to strangers, or like, I don't want to talk about my family, things like that.
Yes. And those messages, like when I read them, I was just like, oh, and it's like super unsettling, but like it's that added flavoring to this movie that just elevates it and makes it so much better than it already is. Because I swear I could have watched that without the words and I still would have had the same effect, but adding like, and when I was watching it, I should show you my my camera roll. I was screenshotting it because I was just so like, oh my God. Like let me get some examples.
Yeah, please.
Because okay, hold on. Where are they? The devil saw everything. I just like, the devil saw everything. You are not you anymore. Heaven is weeping. Like what? Like that gave me goosebumps. I was just like, Jesus Christ. No pun intended.
Yeah, right.
What else is in here? Let's see. Why do you reject me? When I am your God, your debt is paid. I will devour you. Like it's just, oh, it's so good. So good.
I had so much fun with that scene.
Now, how was it like you and Molly, because she also helped write it and she was also in it.
Mm-hmm.
have you guys always had that dynamic of working together or like talking about doing projects together, or was it just kind of like, hey, I need your help, hop on this? And
We've done like things where like we bounce ideas off of each other. This was the first time where it was like hey, like let's lock in and let's do something. And I mean, like, it was crazy. Like the amount of times that I would just be like, I've hit a brick wall. I have no idea where this is going. And she'd be like, do this. And it'd be like, done. And it would fix everything. It was like the best teamwork experience humanly possible.
And it's so good when it's your wife, you know, like,
right.
You can like spend time with her and get shit done, make movies, have fun doing it.
It was awesome. Like I'm making this movie with my wife and my the guy Matt who plays Lilith, my best friend. Like it is the perfect trio of people that all get along, all work super well together. Yep. And so there was never like any like arguments or like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out. It was just like hey, let's
conflictions or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
I love that because you don't get that sometimes when you're creating movies or you're creating anything. Sometimes it just does not work.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
You compromise. And there was just no compromising on this. Every idea that somebody shot out was like, that's it. We're going to do that. And then if we shot it and we didn't like it, we would just do a different idea. It worked immaculate.
And again, I think that's great. Now, does she, I was hoping that like, get it like a chance to talk to her for like a second, but so she, like when she got into horror, was she like younger? Has she always enjoyed it? Like, has it been a part of her life?
She was pretty subtle. When we first started dating, she was like, she liked horror. She wasn't like super duper into it. I remember she's not here. She'll listen to this and be like, tell this stupid fucking story. But when we first started dating, I was living up here in Virginia. She was living in North Carolina, and we would see each other on the weekends. And she came up and visited, and she was like, I want to do like a horror movie, like marathon. She's like, I want to watch like a bunch of classics, like not classics, but she's like a bunch of like staples. And I was like, all right, I've been watching, I watch horror movies from every decade. I'm just going to pick out some random ones that I think that she was like, I've never seen them. Like, there's no way you've never seen Insidious, but all right, let's do it. So
yes,
we did Paranormal Activity, Insidious 2, and then we got really high and watched the Gumby movie. And I remember that was insane. But every time the game, I think, was that every time Molly got scared, I had to take a drink. And there's this video that she has of just this huge tower of Heineken cans.
Oh my God.
And like I'm
done.
Like,
you're
done. I'm just like
tapped out.
I think even in the background you hear me do like a goofy laugh, like an impression of goofy laugh, like it's ridiculous.
I love that. Great choices on the movies too, because way to go from Paranormal Activity to Insidious. Insidious is so scary. So
it is like and that's why I was like, if you can do Paranormal Activity, like I think you can get into Insidious. And I love the first Insidious. I like the second Insidious too, but
me too.
I was like, the first one is incredible. Just be prepared for anything.
Yep.
And I mean, this lasted all day. So like 11 o'clock at night, she's like, I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Yep. And we get in bed. And at the time, like my bedroom was like the size of this office and I didn't have room for anything. So my camera that I had just bought is just sitting in the corner of the room. And we had watched Paranormal Activity and she woke me up, I think around 1 a.m. and was like, you have to do something with the camera. And I'm like,
you're like, what do you want
I have nowhere to put this thing. Like this thing is, I bought like a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera with like a cage, like built into the cage. So the cage is like this big. It would take forever to dismantle the thing. Yeah. So I just put it outside of the room.
Easy solution.
and went to bed. But so I would say that was like when we first started getting like really into horror. She watched horror movies before then.
Love that.
One of her favorites is The Haunting with Owen Wilson and Liam Neeson.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes.
Girl, if you're listening, girlfriend, that movie,
unironically great movie.
Yes, and that's one that I feel like does not get talked about at all.
Because it's like a disaster technically.
It is.
Like it was supposed to be an adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House. It falls apart in production and they just piece together what they can and it's insane.
The Haunting. And
The Haunting.
What was the one guy that played the cop in the Lego movie? What's his name?
Oh my God.
And he has the accent. He's like, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about too, and I'm like, who is this?
The Haunting. What is his name? Everyone's
now I have to
everyone's
get on
screaming at
Letterboxd.
us right now. They're like, it's
It's that one guy from that thing.
Liam Neeson.
Yes. I don't know why. I literally said his name 2 minutes ago too. I don't know why I couldn't get that out.
I couldn't remember it either. I was just like, all I thought about was the cop in the Lego movie when he turns from bad cop to the good cop. But and I also forgot Owen Wilson was in that one too. My Lord.
Oh yeah. It's an insane. I love that movie. We own it on 4K. We have it on VHS. It's a great movie.
I love it too. Well, what else? I have so much that I just like. The captions. I'm trying to think what else I wrote down. So the filming process, how long did it take you to make the movie in its entirety? Like, was it short period? And I know you said like you got some ideas and then came back to it. How long do you think?
Yeah. So I started shooting it, let's see, last year was 2024. I shot the whole thing over 2023. Wow. So it was like the full year, and literally was only because I was waiting for a snowstorm. And I was like, come on. Please. And that was the closest thing we got to a snowstorm. It did not snow that much, but I was like, I have to make this look like it was a fucking blizzard out here.
And like, how do you do that in Virginia?
Yeah, you know what you do? You run in the snow. It looks like snow is pelting your face if you're just holding this camera running as fast as you can.
I love it.
So, I mean, and it worked. I think it made everything look kind of eerie. It made things look weird, but I mean, like that whole thing is shot in my front yard. Like it looks like we're in the middle of the woods. It's just my front yard, and I have a field in my backyard that we shot like the bigger scenes.
It's just like blowing my mind because it literally feels like you were in so many different places in this movie. Meaning like the backyard, then there's scenes of people walking the streets, like in and then you're in like a haunted like house and
which we built. That was my garage.
Really?
Yeah.
So that whole sequence too, like, okay. And my next, okay. How can I piece this together? So when they're showing all of the pieces that the grandmother left, so like the haunted house that are on is that connected to what was happening throughout the movie? Like the places that they were at?
A little bit. Like the haunted house section is definitely supposed to mirror like the events that have transpired on and off camera. So it's definitely meant to confuse you, but it is supposed to be like hey, Dwayne, you're in the house and this is your life and this is playing out before you.
Yes. Oh, I see. And I love that because just watch it in the first one. I'm like, okay, this has to make sense or it doesn't. Cause that's right. Where because literally I watched it and then I did the Letterboxd. I sat for 5 minutes. I lie. I sat for a good like 5 to 10 minutes just in silence, like taking it all in. Looking down the hallway to make sure nothing else is looking at me or anything's happening. Right. Wrote the Letterboxd review, woke up. You, like, I saw you follow me and I was just like, oh my God, it's the director. I got to talk. Like, I have to talk to him. And then I was like, wait, I have to get my shit together before I speak to him because I cannot be like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And because I was so excited. Like when we messaged, I was just like, I need to tell you how brilliant that fucking movie is. But like just trying to like get my thoughts in order because I literally just wanted to be like, hey, was this supposed to be this? Is this connected to this? Is this? And I love it because it can, again, you have a cohesive story, but some people could do a takeaway that makes, not that it doesn't make sense, but what they gather from it. And it's still cohesive.
Right. Like I have my narrative of like, I filmed this, I wrote this is what the movie is. But if somebody was like, oh, I watched it and this is what I took away from it, I wouldn't be like, you watched it wrong. It'd be wrong. Like, that's awesome. That's great. Yes. Like, it's the same thing kind of, again, to bring David Lynch back into this, like with Mulholland Drive, which is my favorite David Lynch movie. He's very like, it just exists. Whatever you took away from that, that's it. I don't know what the blue box is. I don't know what the blue key is. And it's like, yes, that's why this movie is so good. It's so up for interpretation.
And that's like, I felt like that very much so like Eraserhead. Because when the first time I watched Eraserhead, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what is this? And Greg's like, it's nothing. Like, I mean, obviously, like there's takeaways of being like scared to be like a father. Or, like, exactly. Which I think is like the biggest theme of it. But also too, when you watch it, it doesn't make any sense. Like it's madness. Like the chicken
it's
with the
total fucking chaos.
Yes. The mom, I remember like the one scene from Eraserhead that I was so confused about was when she was like shaking the bed, just trying to get her suitcase for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She was leaving and I was like, oh, what is happening?
Right. This is so unnerving.
Yes. And it made me feel a certain way, but I loved it because people are like, wait, you love, I'm like, it made me feel so uncomfortable that I loved it so much. It did its job. It was so effective.
That's what it's supposed to do. And that's what I wanted this to be. I wanted it to, if you're in it, it's going to make you really uncomfortable and it's going to drive you kind of crazy. If you're not in it, you're going to be like the wonderful people that keep leaving 1-star reviews being like, didn't get it, incoherent, 1-star. And I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I like I like them all in Letterboxd. So like, this is just fun at this point. But it's like,
I know.
I mean, if it's incoherent, I don't necessarily think it's a bad movie, but that's just me. I like incoherent.
I do too. And that was the thing too, because I did read some Letterboxd reviews on it and I was just like, and you know what? And I also too feel like even if your movie got like 1-star, at least people are watching it. You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
That's the thing of it. And you're not going to win them all, but like, I don't know. Not that I would ever disagree with someone, but saying it's incoherent, I don't think that's what it is. I think you need to truly pay attention and you need to like see, because there's so much more to storytelling than a simple, this is the start, this is the end, this is how we got here. It can be an accumulation of just anything and everything. But that's not what your movie was, because there was substance and it was just a very, a very good story. So my next question.
Yes.
The couple. Okay. So, and again, I'm going to do like a spoiler thing. If you guys haven't seen the movie, please watch it and come back to this. I should have said, I'm going to preface this in the beginning because there are going to be
heavy spoilers. We're going to hit some spoilers here.
Yes. But I need to know this. So the couple that's on the mirror.
Yeah. That's them in the second movie. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Cause I was like, they're very similar, but the picture, because it seemed like the picture was like moving, or like it was like not like moving, but like definitely being altered as the scene was going on, right?
Right.
And because that's Rosa noticed that, she's like, their faces are starting to look weird. That's super creepy. And then when volume 2 came on, I was just like, okay. And then that's another part that made me feel a certain way, is when the wife was talking to, oh, you were saying this, and like trying to get out what she was saying, but it felt like she couldn't finish a sentence because she was so stuck on it. And that feeling, I felt it. And I know that's so hard to explain it, but like when you have a paranormal or some sort of moment, or you think something's off with your significant other and you're trying to figure that out, it's like, it's so frustrating because you just want to be like, did you see that shit? Right. Like, is this real life? Or am I losing my mind? But like, just watching the conversation had me so stressed out, because I was just like, I believe you. Like, I know that he was probably trying to say something. Like, what was he trying to say?
Here's the best part of that, and I'm going to try to do this without spoiling it, because again, like you said, the second movie hasn't come out yet.
Yes.
I do want people to check it out. But that whole entire interaction was not scripted. I did not tell him to say that. That whole conversation just happened, and I had the camera out, and I was just like sitting behind the camera, like,
what?
Like, in total shock. I didn't know what to do, so I'm just gonna film this, and I'm just gonna do something. And I when I cut, I was like, hey, I'm using that whole thing, and they were like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I was like, that was insane. That was like
bananas. That is bonkers. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. That's so perfect, though, how it worked out.
Because I loved that.
Yes, because that was such an effective scene for me. Into, and also tied into like piggybacking off of 1, because that whole, when the conversation was being had on the phone, you know, about the mother and the church and everything.
Yeah.
You knew something was just like brewing, something evil, and you could just feel it with the way the conversation was lowering and the music was getting higher and the resolution was turned. Oh, it's just so good.
It's all there. There are all little pieces, and there is. My wife just walked in. Hello.
Hi. Yes. Tell her I said hi.
Jordana says hi. She says hi. What are you eating? A sandwich? Did you make it? Oh, okay. But yeah, like it was. I think that whole thing works really well because it's not scripted, and like none of the dialogue in either movie is scripted. So like, I mean, there's not really any dialogue in the first movie to begin with.
Right. There truly wasn't, but the stuff when there were any sort of like conversation pieces or any sort of like vocals on there, it's just so like, I just wanted to pay attention to everything, because I felt like I was missing little tiny things if I didn't hear, like when you were talking about the song and the words that were being said, I was just like, wait,
Yeah.
what is he saying? Because I felt like it was so important to what was happening.
Right.
You know?
No, that part was the not important. I mean, what he's saying in that scene, super important. But like,
Yes.
there's scenes where they're in the graveyard and there's like whole conversations happening, but like it's all nothing. Like it's all just like, it's when we were filming, it was very like, I'm just gonna film, you guys act natural. It's 1990, whatever. So don't be like, I was on my iPhone, because then I have to shoot all over again.
Yes.
That was pretty much the biggest thing, was just don't talk about anything that you would normally talk about.
And you know what? And I will say that too, for you making it in 2023 and having it be set in the 90s and the whole 90s era, it felt so authentic. It felt like it truly, because I mean, I was a teen. I was a kid in that time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like seeing it, I was just like, it's nailed on the head. It's perfect because it matches up perfectly. Even the other scenes, like the haunted house, like you said, you guys made that. It looks like something that would have been a haunted house in the 90s, which it's one of my favorite sequences, just because of like the colors and just the look of it and all of it. And it felt that
took so long to put together too. Like and I haven't even taken it down. Like I've taken down parts of it, but like there's still like half the walls. There's some of the animatronics still like hung up. There's porcelain dolls hanging from the ceiling that you can barely see in it. Yeah, Molly won't go in there, but it does not have a good vibe when you go in there. Eventually I will clean it up.
It does, and the animatronics too, because those are very 90s to me. And that's what sealed the deal, is the skeleton with like the eyes.
Yeah.
Like that it made it feel so authentic to the 90s. And I love that.
It reminded me of those when my buddy, who was also named Nick, he helped me with the set design on that. When he showed me the animatronic, I'm like, this reminds me of those like really like terrifying ones that used to be in like Eckerd's. Like you would walk past and they would just go off and you'd be like, well, I shit myself. Great.
Gotta go home now. Yes.
Right. So that, like when he brought that over, I was like, exactly. This is exactly what I need in here.
Yes. You know what? I would be like, if I had that in my attic or in my area, I would keep it. I would have the dolls hanging. That'd be like my go-to place to go hang out.
Just this dingy garage with an old, not even CRTV, just this old TV and dolls hanging from the ceiling.
Just don't mind me. I'm in here just smoking my joint, hanging out with the dolls.
Hanging out. Yeah.
Yes. It's such a vibe. Like it literally just, I don't know. Again, I'm still stuck in the McKinney home. I don't know if I'm ever going to escape them, truly. But I again, you guys, I praise this movie. I think it's fantastic. And also, FoundTV is going to be doing a watch along this Friday coming up.
Yes.
7th?
Yeah, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yes.
Yes. I definitely want to join in. I kind of want to just like observe, but also like
same.
Yeah, like and chat and like see if everyone else is feeling the vibes. But I just like, I don't know. I get excited when other people watch movies that I love. Like I'm just like, oh, sit down. Let me watch you enjoy this.
It's such a crazy thought of like, oh my God, I'm going to watch people watch my movie. This is strange.
I know. Now, are you going to be doing like any Q&A? Like, are you going to be answering questions on there? Are you going to be doing anything of that nature?
I've told them that I'm down to do that. I don't know like what the setup is, but I was like, I mean, I'll be there. So like, if anybody has questions, I would be happy to answer, as long as it's not like anything like egregious, like, hey, tell me how you did literally everything in this movie. Then I'll have to be like, some of this has to remain a mystery.
I didn't do any of this. This is just literally my autobiography of our new home. This is not.
I've literally found this tape in our attic.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so, and I love the cover. I'm gonna, whenever the VHS are available. Are they available now?
Yeah, I think Retro still has them for sale on, because it was like a limited thing, but now I think that he's got them. I think they're just like permanently in stock.
Well, I know what I'm going to do after this, because I'm going to order like 2 of them to make sure that I have them, because I like came from the VHS era. Like I had all the Disney, like the big Disney ones. Like I had Scream on VHS. Like I had an amazing VHS collection, but unfortunately lost mine in a apartment fire, which,
oh God.
RIP my VHS. I mean, still, but like they're making a comeback. Everyone is all about the VHS now.
I know. because we did the whole thing. Like, I mean, when VHS switched to DVD, I think I was like 10. And
Yeah.
so like, as a 10-year-old, you're like, well, this thing that weighs like 3 pounds sucks. And I don't want it anymore. I want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean on DVD now.
On this little disc.
Yeah, it has special features. So I'm glad, like, I've transitioned over to like Blu-ray and 4K, but I've been getting my VHS collection up and running, especially since all this happened with retro. And I bought a couple tapes and like watched them again, and I was like, oh man, this is back when media was amazing.
Oh, like, remember when we used to go to like video stores and like pick out, and we had to wait to see if it was behind the actual cover, because if it wasn't in stock, you couldn't watch it. You
had to leave your house. You had to pay like $1.95, and you had to pray that they had the movie that you wanted.
I literally had to explain that to Rosalind, because she's like, what did you guys do from like, because I'm like, we didn't have these available like on the go. Like, you couldn't just go to your TV, turn on a movie. Like, you either had to pay-per-view it and pay for it, or you had to go to a movie theater, or you had to rent a video. And she's like, well, what did you do? I'm like, well, on a Friday night, you get all excited. You go to the video store, you'd pick out a whole bunch of movies. You would have a late fee. You had to rewind it. She's like, rewind it? Yes, there's actual, like, the whole thing. You just had to, and it's crazy, like, the difference of now to then. And like, I only have 2 VHSs because I only want to collect the ones that I truly love. So I have Terrifier 2, I have Late Night with the Devil, and then I will be having the McKinney Family Home Videos. So my collection.
I have both of them. We have both of those at the house, actually.
Yes. Late Night with the Devil is another one from 2024 that I felt was so differently done in the found footage manner. I love, a lot of people didn't really like how it went from the footage to the behind the scenes.
That definitely threw me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it still.
At first I was like, that's kind of weird, but I think after time I appreciated it more. But definitely loved what they did with found footage. And then Terrifier 2 obviously was its own juggernaut in the horror community, so I had to have that one. But I am so happy that we got to connect. I'm so happy that we got to discuss your amazing movie. Now, let everyone know where to find you. I know you're not on all socials, and that's
my main.
I get it.
My main is Instagram. You can just find me, just Nick Cotrufo, Cotrufo. You can watch McKinney Family Home videos in a movie format on FoundTV. You can still watch it on the YouTube channel, but it's all kind of broken up, and there's definitely some things that had to get fine-tuned. I think on the YouTube, it feels more like an ARG, whereas this feels like I found this tape. You can watch it there. You can watch it on FoundTV, both free. So totally up to you. Volume 2 is being worked on right now. Like I said, the movie itself is done. We're just waiting to get it hopefully to FoundTV. And this Friday night, 9 p.m., there's going to be the live stream or the live watch party. I'm getting on a social media called Blue Sky, which I'm like, oh no. Because I know they're doing like the live thing through there. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get on there because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm only available through this one social media for any questions. So I'll be on Blue Sky for that. I don't know how long I'll keep Blue Sky after that, but I will.
I know there's so many new apps. Well,
it's
like keeping up with the Joneses. Like, there's so many apps, and there's like with social, and it's great. It's great for like self-promotion. It's great to get it out there. But like, social media is a pain in the ass to have to like, stay on top of that with our normal lives and just trying to just exist. So honestly, I love the simplicity of it, but I'm going to link all of your accounts. I'm going to link the links to FoundTV, to the YouTube, in case, people don't have FoundTV, but you should be downloading the app and watching it on there because it's a great streaming platform.
Super duper free.
Yes, super duper free. And I will also put in the links for the VHS tapes as well, because we do have a lot of people that collect VHS, and like my fellow Mark Square. Yeah. So I'm going to link that because we need to get that out. We need to get the word out on the McKinney Family Home videos, because I stand behind this movie. It fucking slaps. 5 stars. It's my favorite. I love it. Can't say enough.
Look out for shirts too. I just got the first designs for the merchandise. So hoping that Found actually reached out about that. So I'm hoping to have that to them so we can drop that at the end of the month.
Fuck yes. I'll add another shirt to my collection. That just got me so excited.
I was like, there's something else I need to plug. There it is. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm definitely going to get one. I'm going to rock it. We'll be posting that with my tape next to me. But again, Nick, thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you back on when you release volume 2.
Gladly. Say when. I will happily be back here.
Yes, I'm so excited. But you guys, please follow Nick, show love to indie horror films because they are what's keeping the horror genre alive right now. That's what I'm saying.
Big facts.
Yes. And thank you guys again for tuning in. Drink water, be nice to each other. And until next time, guys, we'll see you then. Bye.
See y'all.